Get ready for Hosts at Home. On today's show, he rose to fame at a young age as The Tonight Show's Ross the Intern. And since then, he's become E's go-to red carpet host, America's favorite house guest on Celebrity Big Brother, and from RuPaul's Drag Race, Ross Mathews is here. And now, here's your host, who interviews the host, Adam Wurtzel.
Thanks, Richard Malmus. Hey, everybody, I'm Adam Wurtzel. Welcome to another edition of Hosts at Home, the show where we chat with your favorite hosts, past and present. And this man definitely falls into the latter category. I have the honor of working with this man on 25 Words or Less, one of the best we have on the show. And now he's on Hosts at Home. Ross Mathews. What's up, my friend?
Hey, it is so great to talk to you. You know, I do love doing 25 words or less. I am competitive. I have tons of useless knowledge and useless skills, and a lot of that comes in handy on shows like 25 words or less. Not to toot my tutor, but I am pretty good.
You're seriously the best at that game and really good at game shows in general. And guess what? I've said this to you so many times in celebrity briefings, but on this show, you can use your hands.
Right. Hello. Thank you. Because you know how hard that is for me to do because we can't use our hands on 25 words or less. You know, I've always loved games, you know, game shows, games as a kid. I got really competitive, and I just find as a viewer, it is so fun to watch television that you can play along with.
I could not agree more. And actually, we started posting on social media where they've been blurring out the answers so people at home can actually really play along and feel like they're in the studio.
Oh, that's really fun.
I'm not sure who thought of that idea. It was me. But
was it really? Oh, this is you. Well, what I love about it is because all the people who stop me on the street or tweet me and go, I can't believe you didn't get that word. I'm like, oh, now you can try how really hard it is. How about that?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I said this to you before we went on. From the time that we're taping this interview, we've only been wrapped for a week, but it feels like it's been like a year. I miss seeing your face, Ross.
I know, you know, and when this season was unique because it was the first season in COVID, and so we were in pods, and you know, there's something about doing a production in this time where you really feel like not only are you a family, but you are like climbing the mountain together, because it's a monumental thing to get through this in a safe way and to do it in a unique way where Meredith is the host is in another state in a basement of her house and we're in pods in LA. It's been very different. But I feel like it really brought us closer, all of us, you know, and I think that's what we're missing is that sort of family thing as we're all stuck in our bunkers. It was so nice to be out in the world a little bit.
And it really, you know, and for me being in Nashville, Tennessee, I mean, it really was a countrywide production everywhere.
Right. It was. And I think the audience is so grateful for that because you can tell we're doing it real. Right. And it's new content in the middle of COVID that's actually happening. We would record these episodes and in 10 days, some of them were on the air. You know, I couldn't believe how fast the turnaround was. And people are so hungry for new content right now. And I think that's why the show's doing so well.
Absolutely. And you're a big part of it. So thank you for that. Let's talk about the first question that I always like to ask on Hosts at Home. Well, I guess on this episode, it's more like the third question. Where is home for you? And I think the answer is multiple places.
Well, yeah. So I live in LA, and then I have a house in Palm Springs, and I'm in New York now because I'm doing a bunch with the Drew Barrymore show, and I think I'm getting a place here as well. So I'll be beep, bop, boop, boop, boop all around. So, I mean, like, can you believe that sentence? If 7-year-old Ross could hear the sentence I just said, his head would explode, but it's just the facts.
And by the way, I'm from Long Island, New York, originally.
This is where I'm in Long Island right now.
Are you serious? Where are you?
So I'm in Freeport. So my boyfriend lives out in Long Island right now, and we'll be getting something in the city probably in November. So I'm looking at Long Island on my window right now.
It's crazy. You're only about 15 minutes from my favorite Italian restaurant in the world. So if you ever want great Italian food, go to Domenico's. You will not be disappointed.
Come to Domenico's of Levittown, family owned and operated since 1967. Plan your next celebration or school event at Domenico's. Domenico's of Levittown.
You know, I'm not really into good food. JK at Domenico's. Please text me that so I remember.
Domenico's of Levittown.
Let's talk about your career. One thing that I find so unique about you, Ross, and I didn't really know this until I was doing my research, you were big into debate competitions when you were in school.
Yeah.
How did that experience help you become a better host and a better interviewer?
Well, listen, yes, speech and debate, double state champion, don't even worry about it. It's like, they don't even care. It doesn't even matter. I was, what I loved about speech and debate is the preparation that went into it, meeting crunch time, right? You had to rehearse and practice and be ready for anything. And then you had to bring it into that room and then be ready to go. You know, under pressure, you had to deliver. And nothing in my upbringing prepared me for show business more than that, because that's what I do. You know, you prep, you learn, you know, as much as you can. And then when that red light comes on, you have to deliver. And it wasn't until a few years into showbiz, being on television, which I've done for 19 years now, if you can believe it, that I realized how much I was
25 years old, which is incredible.
No, I'm proudly 41. I have earned every one of them.
Ross, you were 21 years old when you became Ross the intern on The Tonight Show. In a very short amount of time, all of a sudden, you're covering the Olympics. You're covering the Academy Awards. How did it all happen?
I was in college. I'd always wanted to work in television. I love television. I love the puzzle of it. I love how it works. I remember when I was a kid in high school in a farm town up in Washington, I'd skip school to go to a local Seattle talk show just because I wanted to see how the camera worked and who pushed that button that made that thing happen. So I just knew I always wanted to be around showbiz. I went to a college near Los Angeles and somehow magically got an internship working for free, literally for free at The Tonight Show. And I was getting lunches and mail for all that, for everybody. And because I was so curious about the inner workings of television, I just took it upon myself to like sort of talk to the people, like, well, hey, you're a writer. What does that mean? You know, you're this, what is that? How do you do? How do you pull the cord that opens the curtain? I just wanted to talk to everybody. And then one day a comic dropped out of covering the Ocean's 11 premiere. And one of the people I talked to, one of the writers said, you know, who's actually really funny is Ross in the hallway. So they brought me in. It was my last day as an intern. And I actually wrote my first book. It's all about this whole process of going from a little kid in a farm town to this. They called me into the head writer's office, and I thought I was in trouble for stealing food because I would steal food. You know, every time I got lunches for the producers, I would accidentally order an extra hamburger and hide it behind a potted plant and tell it my lunch. And then I would eat it. So I thought, this is great. I'm getting fired from a job where I'm working for free because they found out I was, you know, embezzling beef. But no, they told me they wanted me to go out and cover the Ocean's 11 premiere. And I just was like, I'll tell you, I think they thought they were doing a gimmick. And in my head, I thought, oh, this is how it happens for me. You know, this is my big break, which was sort of delusional, but it ended up being that way. For 14 years, I was the longest running correspondent on that show. I became a creative consultant on that show. And now I'm going into 20 years. I'm entering 20 years on television since that moment.
That is truly incredible. That does not happen often.
I mean, it's crazy, but you know, I think anybody who's in this business, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, we all have that one big break, that one moment you got in the door, that one moment you got a chance, and so that mine just happened to occur on national television.
You know, we had Jay Leno on the show on 25 Words or Less this season, and
how cool is that?
Didn't say anything. I purposely didn't tell you because I wanted it to be a surprise. How was that fun for you?
It was beyond fun for me because, you know, Jay and I don't hang in the same circles, although, like, you know, because he's like in the garage and I'm at happy hour, you know what I'm saying? So I hadn't seen him in so long. And this man, when I talk to you about good people, this man is such a quality human, gave me such a platform. And, you know, you got to remember back in 2001, there weren't a lot of people like me on television, you know, and so this man had the #1 late night talk show, millions of viewers a night, and sort of said, hey, audience who trusts me, like this guy, give him a chance, you know, and he gave me a platform on his show. and was just always so kind to me and my mom and my family. I love him so much. I was so happy to see him.
And we're always happy to see you in your element on red carpets, Ross. You're no stranger to red carpets. When I think of E, I pretty much think of you and I think of Ryan Seacrest. For the folks that don't know, a red carpet, it might look like you're polished and you're ready to go, but a publicist comes over to you, they give you talking points, and boom, you're doing an interview. There's a lot of thinking on your feet. Talk about some of the challenges of those live TV moments.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wish there was a publicist coming to give me talking points. There's not.
Really?
This would be one of those moments.
World, they give us talking points.
No, not at the Oscars and all of that. So it's like when I talked about having all that prep ready in your head and then being ready for crunch time, that red carpet would be a perfect example. You never know who you're going to get when you turn around. When you say goodbye to that person, whoever's waiting next, you're not sure who that's going to be because they just arrive as they arrive, and you don't know who you're going to get or who's going to ignore you. And so you need to be able to see that person, know their first and last name, know what projects they've done, know what the biggest story is about them, know what they're nominated for tonight, or if they're not, or if they're snubbed, and be ready to go right away, especially when you're live, because there's no, let me take a look at a card. It's like, oh, hi, and here we're joined by this person and nominee tonight for this. And what, you have to have all that stuff in your head. And the thing that helped me the most for that is that I just happen to love this stuff. I love pop culture. And I have like a encyclopedic database of pop culture in my head. I couldn't tell you anything about a periodic table, but I can tell you about Nicole Kidman.
Who lives here in Nashville.
Yes, she does, with that Keith Urban. By the way, Nashville is one of my favorite cities too. I go there all the time. Last year or 2 years ago, I was in Nashville, and then we drove out to Dollywood, and I stayed out in the Smoky Mountains in a cabin. I love Tennessee.
I love Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
And that whole area. There's a lot of moonshine.
I actually went moonshine tasting, which was fun until it wasn't.
Oh my gosh. Switching gears now. One of the coolest things, in my opinion, that you ever got to do was commentating the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm a massive fan of ABBA, massive fan of Eurovision. Can you just kind of describe what that was like?
Yeah, it's funny that you even know that, but we did do it on Logo for I think 3 years, and it's this humongous international singing competition, song competition show. It's like if you took American Idol but blew it up to a global scale, where there were hundreds of millions of people viewing it, and like every country has their own entry in it. And so it was so fascinating. I had never seen it before they asked me to do the commentary on it, and we were actually in Hollywood in a room watching it with headsets. So you didn't see us, it was just our voices. And I was blown away at how invested I got. I don't understand why it's not a much larger deal here in the United States, because it is epic. And if you had never seen it, you must just stay up one night when it happens and watch it. The way they do it is next level television.
It's a spectacle in a good way.
And as somebody who loves television, the scale of by which the production, what they do, will blow you away.
I want to talk about another TV show that I happen to love. My guilty pleasure is Big Brother. For the folks that have not seen season 1 of Celebrity Big Brother, spoiler alert, so you're going to stop right now if you've not seen it. Spoiler alert, runner-up and America's favorite house guest, Ross Mathews.
And I agree with you. I should have won. I agree. And I don't think about it. It doesn't drive me crazy. That show I have loved since day one. I remember when I saw the previews for season 1, Big Brother, I was like, hot people in a house using one bathroom. I've got to see this. And I would always talk about watching the show. I'm very vocal when I watch television, and I know how to get to the end of that show. You just, you have to have multiple alliances, go wherever the power is, and win when your butt's on the line, win your power of veto. And I've always said that. And then when they announced they were doing a celebrity cast or season, I go, oh no, they're going to ask me to do it. I just know they're going to ask me to do it, and I don't want to do it. And then they did ask me to do it. And I said, there's no way I can do this. I don't want to play it. I just know I could. And then the competitive person in me came out, and I just thought, Ross, you just have to do it. And I played hard. I think I'm so proud of the game I played, but people ask me, would you do it again? Not in a million years. I did it once. I played, I think, a perfect game, and I'm proud of it.
Was there ever, let's talk about the first night. You're laying in bed in the Big Brother house. Was there any specific house guest that you played with where you were like, I cannot believe I am in a home right now with this person?
Omarosa, I couldn't believe it. This is right after she left the White House. And I remember before I went in, I was asked, who would you not want to have in there? I said, someone like Omarosa, because she's so contentious. And then literally she had left the White House 3 weeks earlier, and then disappeared, and then came into the Big Brother house. So when she walked in, I was so thrilled because I knew the ratings would be humongous, and they were. But I also knew she was dangerous, and she was interesting to be in a show with, living with, especially because, you know, when you're locked away, things start getting kind of personal, you know, you care, you're talking. She came at me once about something I don't even remember. And so we were having this intense conversation. I was like, you're incorrect. And it was sort of not a fight, because I'm not going to fight, but it was intense. And then we sort of paused and stared at each other, and she goes, that was great TV. And I was like, oh my God, she was just like, she's over here and I'm over here. She's that good at reality TV. And I was just sort of being me. And I realized in that moment, like, oh, this is why she's made a career out of this.
Wow.
Because she's that good. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. There's something I've always wondered about that house. Do you sleep? Like, what happens if somebody's just snores, like, terribly?
Well, people did. I'm not going to name names. Sleeping in that house is tough, because it's not a house. It's a soundstage where, you know, right where they shot Seinfeld, and they have their 4 walls that are built up. And so you look up and there's lights hanging above you. And I remember the first night you sleep under a 2-way mirror, and the camera operators are in the walls. And so I remember laying down that first night, my pillow right under a 2-way mirror, and hearing this. Ready? Yeah, I've got a shot of Ross. Okay, yeah, I'm zooming in tight on his face. Yeah, he's going to sleep. And I'm like trying to go to sleep. Imagine and thinking, oh my God, there's a tight shot on my face right now, being broadcast live on the internet or television. And okay, now good night. I hope you don't drool. It was like your guard was never down.
That's crazy. I didn't think you could hear stuff like that, but I guess the walls are not as thick as we think. Wow. I want to talk about all this great stuff that you're doing now, Ross, including RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, what an incredible show that I feel like has changed television forever.
I think it has too. I think it's, you know, I was a fan of the show before I was on the show. And I think the culture just caught up to what Ru and World of Wonder have been doing. And, you know, we went from this little sort of niche show to being like doing great in the ratings, and then nominated for Emmys. And then we've won the past 3 years in a row. And the show just has spawned other series in countries, Canada, Holland, Thailand, the UK, all have their version of this show. I'm so grateful to be on a show where we can be funny and unapologetically gay and inclusive, and we have allies on the show. And on what other program could I wear the ridiculous clothing that I wear on that show?
In an ideal world, obviously 2020 has slowed us down a little bit. In the ideal world, what does 2021 look like for Ross Mathews?
Well, listen, I have been so grateful. You know, I've been able to work for most of this year, you know, just a couple months off. But when we went to production on Drag Race in July, shot all the way to October, then I got to do, you know, 25 Words or Less. I'm so grateful. Now I'm doing Drew Barrymore's show. So I'm working. 2021, I hope brings, it's been tough for me because I lost my mom in 2020. COVID, I'm not good being alone. So what I would love is a restart for everybody in 2021, right? Let's get a vaccine. Let's go into the new year knowing what we know about how grateful we are to be able to work, to be able to hug your family. Like, I think there's going to be a new sense of gratitude from everybody when we get back to normal. So we won't be taking things for granted for a while.
I couldn't agree more. We're so gracious that you joined us here on Host. I want to finish how we started, and that is by talking about game shows. You have obviously appeared on 25 Words or Less, the $100,000 Pyramid, Celebrity Family Feud, versus 100. The list goes on and on. Is there a game show you haven't done that you have always wanted to do?
Oh my God, yeah. I want to do Celebrity Jeopardy. I don't want to do the regular Jeopardy because I'm not smart enough, but for the celebrity one, they dumb it down. I could do that. Wheel of Fortune, I just want to spin that wheel. Of course, I'd want to do Price is Right. I think they should do a primetime celebrity version of Price is Right. How fun would that be? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I mean, can I tell you a game show I don't want to do? That's going to be easier list. I would do all of these.
What would you not want to do?
What game show would I not? American Ninja Warrior. That's not a game show, but I don't have no interest in that.
I think it. What about Survivor?
Oh no. And they offered me The Amazing Race. I said, "There's no way. I get too much anxiety from that. It's not for me. I want to play the ones where that just seem fun. The classics, the ones that seem fun. I grew up on a lot of these shows. What I love about 25 Words or Less too is it brings back a lot of what I loved about the game shows of yesteryear, where you did get the celebrities in there playing, winning money for people. And when the celebs are there, it's like guaranteed LOLs all the time. So it's gameplay plus infotainment. I love it.
It truly is. And there's 175 episodes this season of 25 Words or Less.
And can I toot your tutor for 1 second? Sure. You are so good at what you do every day. With a returning celeb or a new one, you go through how the game works, and you keep those meetings fresh. You keep them fun. You're always encouraging celebs who are nervous to have fun. And I think the final product has a lot to do with you.
Well, Ross, we are so gracious and so happy that you joined us here on Hosts at Home. We've got one more episode next week for this season, and it's our big season finale. And Richard Malmus is here to tell you who's going to be on the show.
Next time on the Hosts at Home season finale, we welcome the host of hit shows like Junkyard Wars, Weak as Lane, and a man who has made countless dreams come true by announcing their name to Come On Down on The Price is Right. George Gray joins us. And now, back over to our host, Adam.
That's right. Next week is our season finale. We have George Gray, the host of shows like Junkyard Wars, Weakest Link, and the announcer of this little show called The Price is Right. George Gray joins us next week. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. It is, due to the magic of editing, on the bottom of your screen right now. Look at that. There it is. It's that red button. Please click subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Ross Mathews has been our guest today on Hosts at Home. Such a pleasure having Ross on the show. You know by now, I don't close the show. That is Ross's job. Ross, over to you.
Thanks so much. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Until 2020, when we can hug each other in person, stay safe. And that's all from Hosts at Home. Bye.
Come to Domenico's of Levittown, family owned and operated since 1967. Plan your next celebration or school event at Domenico's. Domenico's of Levittown.